Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final Made web series session of 2021. We're so excited that you're here with us tonight. We have the team of SeeHer with us. So Jeannine Shao Collins, the president of SeeHer, and Christine Guilfoyle, the executive vice president of membership for SeeHer. So if you are not familiar with SeeHer yet, you definitely should be. They are a coalition of marketers, media companies, and agencies focused on the equitable representation of women and girls in advertising, media, and entertainment. So Jeannine and Christine will walk us through some really great examples of how SeeHer members promote a more inclusive media landscape. So we're really excited about that. Before we get started, I do want to remind everyone that you should be on mute. Jeannine and Christine will take questions at the end, so feel free to use the chat function if you'd like to ask one, or if you want to come off mute to ask your question directly, just use the hand raise function and I'll call on you and you can take yourself off mute. All right, that's it for me. I will hand it over to you, Jeannine and Christine.
Jeannine Shao Collins. I'm the president of SeeHer. I've been here all of at the ANA and part of SeeHer since April 5th. And my partner in crime, Christine Guilfoyle, and I, if we seem like we're very familiar, we have known each other for a very long time, even though we've only been at SeeHer for a very short period of time. So Christine, why don't you say a little bit of words before we go on?
First, I just wanted to say good evening. I'm so excited to be here. It's situations like this that fuel us. I also want to introduce Nadia Farini Becker. She works in the membership department with me at SeeHer. My anniversary is 8/12. So Jeannine is 4 months in tomorrow. I am April 12th and Nadia is May 25th. So hopefully if you learn nothing at all from this session, which I'm sure you will learn a lot, is that in a very short time, if you have stick-to-itiveness and have the ability to listen to what goes on around you, you can learn a tremendous amount about things that you might be passionate and enthusiastically driven towards. So we're thrilled to have you here with us today.
So, as Sarah said, the mission of SeeHer is that we have formed a coalition of marketers, advertisers, and media companies who've committed for the accurate portrayal of women and girls and all their content, their advertising, and whatnot. And what makes us so proud of the mission of SeeHer is the fact that we are actually affecting change, because we all know young women have to see it to be it. Or see her to be her, rather. So we're really excited. We have a little deck here that takes us through what SeeHer is and our mission. And then we will also at the end talk about more about ourselves, our careers, and what we're doing. We have longtime media executives, and even though we've only been at SeeHer for a short period of time, we have always been committed to the empowerment of women and girls throughout our careers. And so we're really excited to share this with you.
We've loaded the presentation up with lots of videos and case studies. And as Jeannine said, we would love for you to feel that this is an interactive session. So feel free to ask questions. And without further ado, we'd like to share with you our anthem video.
SeeHer started as a moment and has become so much more. As media makers and brand leaders who help shape our culture, we see the powerful opportunity, the responsibility to make a change for good.
Stronger than the wind, we're coming home so we can finally begin.
But to be the change, everyone needs to see the change. Because when we can see her, we see strength, we see inspiration, we see ourselves. When we change the conversation, we can change the world.
It's not only our job to entertain, but our duty to inspire and educate for love and respect.
You can't spell heroes without her. SeeHer.
So the mission of SeeHer is, as I said, if you can see her, you can be here. It's to drive the accurate portrayal of women and girls in marketing, advertising, media, and entertainment so they can see themselves as they truly are. And what's particularly important is that we address the accurate portrayal across all the intersectionalities, whether it be gender, sexual orientation, ability, religion, race and ethnicity, body type or age. We want to make sure that we're talking to her so that she sees the possibility and as she truly is.
So we thought we would share with you today some case studies of two particular creatives. And at the end, we're going to ask you which one you think represents women and girls in the best possible light.
Feel this alive every day. We're gonna try. No one ever slowing down, darling. Here we go. Never slowing down. We'll get lost until we're found. No one ever slowing down, darling. Here we go.
So that was number one. And now we'll play number two. So at SeeHer, we are not ever really about naming and shaming. That creative that we just showed you from Volkswagen was something that ran in Europe, but I just wondered if anyone wanted to put in the chat which one, number one or number two, you think is a better SeeHer representation. So far, 2 votes in for number one. I think there's 3. Yes, I do believe that all of you are right in your voting. It's pretty obvious. That is a current Walmart back to school creative. I think it is fantastic. Walmart is a member of SeeHer. And as you'll see from this chart here, as Jeannine said at the top of the session, we are so fortunate that we work with a collective of marketers, media companies, and agencies, many of them competitive with each other. When you think about certain categories of advertising that are highly competitive, telecom, we have AT&T and Verizon, credit card, we have Visa, MasterCard, Citibank, Amex. So the coming together of the collective marketing spirit around gender equality is so important to the entire team at SeeHer. And our team is led by the co-chairs of Mark Pritchard, the CMO of Procter & Gamble, who I'm sure many of you have studied. Mark will go down in history as the greatest CMO of all times, I'm sure. And Fiona Carter, who is the CMO of Goldman Sachs. They are really our management here at SeeHer, in addition to our great leadership at the ANA with Bob Leo-Dice, who is our CEO. As we move to our next slide, all of our members and that are current members, as well as those members that we look to recruit, are walked through our Marketing Essentials Toolkit. So we want to make sure that membership, which is paid, and there's different levels of membership, that we have tools and services, thought leadership and measurement that is built into the membership matrix. And today we thought we would highlight two portions of the Marketing Essentials Toolkit. The media activation portion, which is super fun, and our GEM measurement portion. So Jeannine, I didn't know if you wanted to share anything about media activations before we moved into the section.
Well, what's really exciting, what we'd like to call them are media activations as what virtuous circles, because what it is the media companies create content that are SeeHer mission aligned, and the marketer comes in to support it. So it is really the highest level of engagement that we could ask from our members, because they're actually co-collaborating on content that is going to make the world better, because they have better representation for women and girls, so that we can show everybody the possibilities.
So one fantastic kind of moment in time that we'd like to share with you was in first quarter of this year, we had Women's History Month. And during first quarter, so January through March, we drove 1.6 billion impressions in SeeHer media activations. And we're going to share some of those activations with you today. One of my favorite, as a soccer mom and an athlete a long time ago, this one rang very true to me, and it was a media collaboration around the ESPYs, and we're going to play you a video of that information.
Megan and I know how important it is for athletes to point whatever spotlight they're given at causes that mean something to them.
One cause that means a lot to us is SeeHer. SeeHer has a mission to change the representation of women and girls in media, to emphasize their diversity, complexity, their strength, and their overall badassness.
AT&T has teamed up with SeeHer to launch SeeHer in Sports. Their goal? To level the playing field by making women's sports more visible and inspiring the next generation of women athletes.
And speaking of women athletes that can inspire generations to come, here's a look at some of last year's greatest women's performances.
SeeHer Greatest Women's Performances, celebrated by AT&T.
I've been gone for too long, now it's time I take it back. Got them speakers burning up. Give me that bass.
The great Serena Williams.
How good is that? Looking unstoppable. It's her first title since she became a mum.
Elena Deliar, the rejuvenated MVP.
She's a matchup nightmare.
I'm TNT.
There it is.
Working on all cylinders. Number one in the world, Jin Young Ko.
Major champion again.
Sensational.
Simone Biles,
The greatest of all time. 6 national titles.
the most decorated gymnast ever. Her new move, right here, the Biles 2 on floor. Nobody can do this.
Buddy.
So as Jeannine mentioned before, that is an example of a virtuous circle. It's our friends at the ESPYs with our friends at AT&T coming together to elevate SeeHer, utilizing what we like to say our IP, our intellectual property, to drive the mission of SeeHer home. Another example of where we have a virtuous circle is with our Critics' Choice Awards. So this year, SeeHer awarded Zendaya with our Critics' Choice Award. You'll see on the screen 4 of our past award recipients. And we have the opportunity, I believe, Nadia, to play you Zendaya's announcement and celebration video here.
SeeHer start. SeeHer.
Are we having some technical difficulties?
If it doesn't play, Nadia, don't worry about it. You can see it on YouTube, friends and fans of the session, but Zendaya so beautifully accepted the award. And then throughout the show's airings, each of the past recipients, Kristen Bell, Eva Longoria, Ashley Park, Jamela Jamil, and the rest all had See Her moments programmed into the award show segment. The last virtuous circle that we wanted to share is the iHeartRadio for Women's History Month. And this is one that we really, really love for lots of reasons. Our partners at iHeart really turned the speakers up high for See Her, Hear Her, which is our music and voice task force. And they basically utilized all of their platforms from radio to podcast in front and behind the mic to emphasize their commitment towards See Her through this See Her, Hear Her, celebrating women in music opportunity that culminated in concerts from Cardi B, Gwen Stefani, and Kelsey Ballerini. And I believe we have the video for that here. Okay, moving into our next segment. So, this is one of those moments in time from a teaching moment standpoint where sometimes you just have to smile and move on to the next slide. And for all of you who are looking to get into a career in communications, marketing, or brand management, sometimes the technology just does not agree with your agenda.
And honestly, what the crazy part is that we actually had a tech run through beforehand. So here we are.
Here we are as well. So, with all of those wonderful virtuous circles and great PR moments and media alignments, all of that is fantastic. But listen, the business of advertising, media, marketing, and entertainment is big business. And we need to make sure that we are layering in KPIs towards success. And that leads us to GEM, our gender equality measurement. Oh, okay. So the gender equality measurement is the global gold standard for measuring gender bias in media. It is a recognized, trademarked, award-winning measurement. We have measured over 160,000 ads across every category of advertising in the last 4 years, where we have both platform, so broadcast, digital, social, radio, outdoor, and print benchmarks, as well as themes that we've been collecting. In addition to testing ads that run in the US, we have the ability to test in 14 different countries. They're listed there on the screen. And those countries represent 87% of global ad spend. When we talk about our GEM suite of research tools, we have the ability to drive increased brand reputation and calls to action. So as we've talked about, it feels fantastic to change the world by working at SeeHer, but ultimately we know that it also is good for business. So an ad with a high GEM score has a 56% increase for brand reputation and a 20% increase for call to action. We partner with IRI, and based upon this IRI collaboration, we know that an ad that has a high GEM score drives purchase intent and sales increase by plus 44% for consumers, as well as 44% for women. And we know that when you take your high scoring GEM ad and you place that in a high scoring GEM program, you have a 5x and a 2x increase in your sales growth. One of our research partners is Nielsen, and we have the ability to look at GEM scores across 1,000 programs in broadcast and cable, and we provide that viewing program guide to our marketers and our agency partners so that when they do their media planning, they have the ability to make sure that they are aligning high GEM scoring ads, removing unconscious bias from their ad creative, and putting those ads within programming that receives a high GEM score. And one of the things that we do as it relates to advertising is that we have workshops and deep dives. And Nadia, if you wouldn't mind going back to the Write Her Right, I'm keeping Nadia on her toes today as it relates to the order. We have 2 workshops that we do for our members. This particular workshop we thought would resonate with you within the internship program, because Write Her Right is something that we take very seriously at SeeHer. We created a tool for general population women to facilitate conversation. And we realized that we really needed to drill down into other aspects of conversation starter. So through a partnership with OWN and the seal of approval from Oprah Winfrey herself, we created the Write Her Right guide for Black women. And this guide facilitates conversation around gender equality with showrunners, actors, and network executives to make sure that from the very earliest stage of content development across all of the intersectionalities, we are writing Black women characters correctly from the get-go. In addition to the partnership with OWN, we are about to unveil a partnership with Telemundo for Hispanic women. And we just had a kickoff call today with AMC Networks. So you guys you're in the loop with AMC Networks around a collaboration for AAPI. And moving forward, we will do a Write Her Right for the LGBTQIA community. And then we will look to roll out Write Her Right for kids. We also have a workshop around inclusive visual best practices. So you can only imagine during the pandemic when you could not go out on the road to shoot your commercial in Bali or Aspen or wherever it is that your creative team would have decided made a fantastic location. You couldn't shoot original influencers, actors, or participants of your creative. How were you going to get all of that creative work done? So we partnered with Getty, which is a member of SeeHer, and they have image banks. And what we found is that there was a lot of bias in these image banks. If you went and typed in family, what came up was a very traditional white mother and father family, usually with 2 blonde, a boy and a girl, kids. And we knew, as I'm sure all of you on the line know, that family now is represented of many different components with different moms and dads and combinations of kids, etc. So we launched this visual best practice guide to make sure that imagery that marketers were showcasing looked for inclusion across the 7 tenets to promote diversity and inclusion. And those 7 tenets, as we've discussed, are gender, race and ethnicity, sexual orientation, body type, ability, age, and religion. So if we use a cultural moment that's happening right now, there's lots of creative around the Olympics, where both athletes as well as Paralympians are being featured. And I encourage all of you to look at P&G's mom campaign, take a look at the city campaign that is highlighting STARE, which is around their Olympic athletes that are Paralympics. And the whole notion of that creative is about go ahead, stare. Look at everything that I have accomplished as a Paralympian, and see the wonderful inclusion of imagery across all of the 7 tenets in a truly SeeHer way. I can tell you the P&G Mom campaign makes me cry every time that Mark Pritchard unveils one of those creatives, and the wonderful representation across the 7 tenets that ad creative represents. Jeannine, I didn't know if you wanted to share anything as it relates to our workshops or around the Marketing Essentials Toolkit.
So what we're really providing to our members, and what you should understand, is whether these workshops, such as the Visual Best Practice Guide, are to help the agencies and the marketers do a better job from the beginning of when they're putting their creative together. So whether it's creating a print ad or a commercial or do a branded integration or one of those things, we want them to use our tools, whether it's the Visual Best Practice Guides, as I said, or the Write Her Right, so that they know how to represent different types of characters, whether she be a woman, a Black female character, an Asian character, or somebody who's Hispanic, or someone who's part of LGBTQIA, that they are asking themselves the right questions as they're putting the creative together so that they can eliminate bias. So that's where all these workshops come into place as tools for everyone to frankly be better.
So if you think about the commercials that we showed you at the top of the presentation, if you think about the Walmart commercial, and we think about these 7 tenets and the inclusive intersectionality that we promote, you definitely saw, men and women in all different roles. Race and ethnicity was represented throughout. There was definitely a modern sexual orientation representation. I love when the female character was painting the nails of the young male character to give him confidence to go off to his first day of school. There was all shapes and sizes of body that were represented within the creative, people young and old alike. And I really felt that creative from Walmart was the gold standard of being inclusive. When you think about the Volkswagen creative, there was both genders were represented, and obviously ability and sexual orientation and race and ethnicity. But if you dug into that commercial, what you had was women doing all of the boring traditional role model things, making a sandwich, sitting on the bench with the baby carriage, when you had the man flying in space and the fantastic Paralympian doing that long jump, all of the really fun, aspirational, exciting types of representations. And it's those types of bias coming through in role model representation that if that ad was scored by GEM, would not give it a high GEM score.
And we wonder that if they went through some of our workshops, that they would have adjusted some of that creative to have some of the women doing more exciting things.
So as we move into kind of the end of the presentation, we wanted to see if there were any questions that anyone had. We obviously moved through this at a pretty fast rate. I wanted to share with you lastly our SeeHer member calendar. So we talked about content. I encourage you to follow us on social. I believe very, very strongly that our SeeHer Instagram is just spectacular. And our programming really focuses on industry events. It focuses on cultural moments. And then it also focuses on, very specific dates on the calendar. So what do I mean about that? Industry events are things like ANA conferences, like the Multicultural and Diversity Conference, the Social and Digital Conference, our Masters of Marketing, where SeeHer has a place on the agenda. Cultural moments are things like Women's History Month, Mother's Day, Gay Pride, Hispanic Heritage Month, etc. And then there's very specific dates that are near and dear to us. International Day of the Girl, this celebration of Title IX, which is next June, the 50th anniversary. And we activate our members in blogs, in social posts, in media activations around this always evolving, robust member calendar. And I believe that is the end of our prepared slides. Here's all of our social handles: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you were to follow us, you would see that our messaging on each of these handles is obviously very tailored to the audiences and the types of information. On LinkedIn, we're very focused on providing career updates, business announcements, strategy launches, campaign unveils, for example. And Instagram is where you'll see things like the spectacular media activations, the STARE campaign, the 30 days of AAPI awareness around those that have changed the conversation, as well as those that are looking to shape it for the future, to just give you a few examples of how we're using our social handles.
Okay, great. Well, if that's the end of your presentation, happy to open the floor to questions. So feel free to raise your hand, come off mute, or you can ask it in the chat. I know I have a question, so I'm going to kick it off. Christine and Jeannine, this is for both of you. Can you tell me what advice you have for people who are just entering the industry now?
Well, I'll tell advice from a macro standpoint. I said early on that I wasn't lucky enough to have any organization like MADE in my life when I was graduating from college. In fact, I went to school for engineering, crazy, and ended up getting into the industry kind of by accident. So I like to say that my path found me. The one advice I would give to everyone is find something that you're really interested in and passionate about, because then work doesn't feel like work. And putting in the hours does not feel arduous. And find and when you're interested in something, I would just go for it, because that way you're following what you love, and it's not a chore. And I know I said that a couple times. So that's my advice to everyone, is that getting into the industry, find whether it's social media, because there's so many different opportunities now that weren't there before, whether it's traditional media, being television, or it's being a content creator, or whatever it is. Find what you're most interested in and just follow it.
I would echo Jeannine's, and I would say that I was a political science major and a philosophy minor. I kind of fell into this career as well, and I my daughter, who is all of your age, she's 20 and a rising junior, is a communications major. And when I asked her why, she said, "You have had the most fun career." And kind of dovetailing on what Jeannine has said, there are far worse things to do for a living than what it is that we do. But what I will share as my advice is that you should ask questions and ask for help. People in our positions are always willing to give. And most people our age, really didn't have anyone to kind of help us and raise us up. So I would encourage you, and Danielle, I'm so happy that you're showing yourself on the screen. Welcome. I would encourage you to reach out. And I also would encourage you to learn as much as you can from as many places as you have the opportunity to learn. And, you know, what I always found is that I never had a plan. I just kind of did my work, and I always kept my head down, and ended up being promoted because I was doing the work of the job that was next ahead of me before anyone gave me that job. And I think a lot of people talk about, well, what's your job description in this industry? I think the job description changes as quickly as the landscape of what our jobs are. So follow your passion, roll up your sleeves, do hard work. And I truly believe that you'll be rewarded if in fact you do that.
Great. Thank you guys so much for that. Chantia, you had your hand up first, so you can kick it off.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for the presentation. It was really engaging and insightful. And I just love like the whole story behind SeeHer coming up and where it is now and all the like partnerships. So I wanted to ask kind of two questions. My first question was in regards to like partnerships. If you guys ever worked with Femme It Forward at Live Nation, I had a chance to intern with them the past spring, and it was a really cool internship because it was focused on like just bringing up women that are in like the film and music industry, and it was just a really great experience to be able to like do some of the social media work while I interned there. So that was one question I was curious about. And then the second question was, what do you think has been the biggest drawback or like obstacle to overcome being like having so much women be a part of SeeHer, and then driving to have more women representation in a lot of fields that are like male dominated? Yeah, just kind of what kind of pushbacks were faced and how you overcame those.
Well, I'll start, and then Christine can complete. Well, first of all, we do work with Live Nation. We have a task force called SeeHer, Hear Her, and you heard a little bit about it from Christine. We did a big activation with iHeart where we had all these great musicians talking about how important it was for women to be in front and behind the mic. Crazy statistic, which I didn't even know before I got here, that there are many more men who their music is aired and played than for women. For instance, in country music, they will not play two female artists back to back, which is kind of egregious and terrible, right? So we have this whole task force where we're trying to change things in the music industry to have better representation for women. And frankly, music engineers, which is a very big job, there's so few women that we just recently had someone talk to the group about how they needed to recruit more women who are your age to be musical engineers. So, long.
Yeah, she was great. Emily Lazar is her name, and she was the first Grammy Award-winning producer, mixer. I mean, it's like if you look up her Wikipedia, she is so incredibly talented and recognized. And when I had a chance to talk with Emily, and her organization is called We Are Moving the Needle. She said she wants to get to a place where when people talk about her, they don't say, Emily Lazar, the first woman, right? Woman wants to be the first woman, right? You want to be like, look at all of the women, that have been able to do this. And we hear that across many things, but We Are Moving the Needle is her organization, and she's pretty fantastic.
And so Live Nation is to your point, is very active, as are many other companies, to try to change, because there's a lot of change that has to happen in the music and events business overall. As far as obstacles, God, I wish we could say that our work is close to being done, but it's not anywhere close. I mean, we just talked about a couple statistics. There's still a lot of issues in representation and access to capital. We all know that money helps things go. And that's why SeeHer has a very big job ahead of us. Personally, throughout my career, I've experienced a lot of sexism and racism being a minority. I had a former boss who would refer to me upon starting a meeting as, and Chris knows this, as hello, crazy Chinese woman, which, you know, we will remain nameless, but that did happen. And I think we just have to continue to push forward and stand up for ourselves and, I know, keep going. But, you know, we've all faced a lot of discrimination, and that's part of the reason we're so passionate about the cause for SeeHer. Chris, do you want to talk about?
And I'm gonna answer the second question first, just to carry on Jeannine's thread. I think all of you in today's day, you know, are fortunate for the work that's been done before, right? But as you know, there's still more work to be done. What we're finding at SeeHer is that many organizations, through their DE&I efforts, are really changing the landscape of companies, you know, across every industry. And I would encourage you to do your research, right? When you are, there's no bad choice that you can make in your first job. And you should do your work, your research around an organization that not only talks the talk, but has really developed programs and opportunities that support those announcements, right? By no means do you want to go to a place that just kind of talks about it when it's the appropriate news cycle to speak to it, but then does not have those practices infiltrate through their organizations, because there are so many that are really getting it right and can admit that they have so much more work to do. And as young people starting out on your career, I would say that they will be as lucky to have you as you are as lucky to have the job there. And don't ever feel like you have to be desperate or that you can't change your mind and move on if someone doesn't recognize you, you know, as who you truly are. You know, and as Jeannine said, I've been pulled onto the lap of and had the tongue of a very senior member, you know, inserted on leaving a dinner, you know, and these are just things that happened in our career, right? And it was just kind of expected, right? Crazy Asian woman, pinch on the ass, you know, whatever it may be, you know, you kind of smiled and, you know, went along with it. And I will say it was horrible and should never have happened. But because there is this great reckoning around all of these, you know, level of racism and sexism, etc., my hope and my dream is that none of you on the line will ever have to deal with those types of things.
And they have resources to not
Exactly. As it relates to the internship and Live Nation, as well as Jordan's question in the chat, there are many tools within the forward-facing part of SeeHer. We also have a digital handout that we can give to Sarah and Sarah to make available to all of you that join the call with some resources. And by all means, if there is anything else that any of you who've listened to us would like, you know, please don't hesitate to reach out to Nadine, Nadia, Jeannine, and I. We're more than happy to help from a resource standpoint.
So I'm going to respond to something that's, I think, very close to my heart and Chris's heart and Nadia's heart and Sarah's heart and Sarah's heart. I'm really excited to announce that all this great stuff that you have heard of, and I see that the question is also going to be available on campus, because we are working on the very first SeeHer marketing curriculum, which is the first time that marketing and gender studies is going to be collaborating on a formal program and curriculum. And hopefully, if all of you are interested and these are still around on colleges and not working in being big powerhouses in whatever ad agency or media company that you go for, you will pursue a certificate or this program and learn how to be a SeeHer marketer.
Exciting stuff. Yeah, we're really excited to collaborate with SeeHer on that project. So can't wait to launch it. I know Danielle, you have a question you've been waiting so patiently, so go ahead and ask it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello. I love the presentation and it's really just inspired me. And I've just been thinking like, how exactly like do I get involved? Are there any like volunteer opportunities? And now you just mentioned that there'll be a curriculum on campus. Sadly, I just recently graduated from college, so I wouldn't be able to partake in that. So
that's not sadly, that's awesome, Danielle. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So just like listening to your presentation, I'm just curious, like how does someone like me get involved or volunteer, or are there internship opportunities or anything like that?
Well, first of all, we want you involved. So, you know, we're going to give you our contact information, and as things go along, we have so many members, right? So it's not just us. Even you can also get involved if you decide you want to go to a marketer or an agency or a media company. We're going to send, you saw the list from Chris's presentation of all those companies that are involved, and hopefully we'll have more. So whether it's through us directly or through the companies who are members, we hope you stay involved, because we don't limit the memberships from a member company. Anyone from the company can get involved. And then finally, to answer some of the questions, is that we're hoping that we have a digital version of the SeeHer marketing curriculum, and that whether you're a student or not, you can, by being involved with the ANA, you can have access to this curriculum, whether you're a college undergrad or a graduate or a young professional or whatever. So we're hoping to be able to democratize this information so that everybody, because it's very important that we get everybody involved. And you guys are so smart. I mean, just so smart to be part of the MAID program and be involved with a trade association like the ANA for the beginning. Because I will tell you, by being involved with the ANA and AEF, it is going to make your career better from the very beginning. You're already networking, which I didn't even know how to network when I was graduating from school. I didn't know anyone like me. You're already being exposed to professions that I didn't even know about.
By the way, there is no one like Jeannine anyway. When she says I didn't know anybody like me, believe me, it's because she is one of a kind. There is nobody like her.
So anyway, I'm just letting you know that you are so smart being part of the MAID program and part of the ANA, because that we are supposed to be a resource for you from the beginning of your career till the end. And just, I would suggest keep being involved. So, you know, the way to get involved is email us, talk to Sarah, talk to all of us, and we will help.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. I will definitely be reaching out to you guys.
And I can already tell you guys have pep in your step. So make sure to reach out. We need more people like you.
Everyone on this call, honestly, they're the best of the best. And we're so fortunate to have them in our community, in our network. Looking forward to keeping in touch with all of you. You all are rock stars already. So can't wait to see what wonderful things you do. Before we close it out, are there any other questions that you all have, or any other comments? Nothing else? That's okay. This was a really, really fun night. I do want to say another thank you to the SeeHer team for your super inspiring presentation. And it really is great to see how the world's largest brands embrace and promote a more inclusive and diverse industry. Just a reminder to everyone on the call, we recorded today's session and we'll be posting it to our website next week in case you want to rewatch it, get some more inspiration. And like I said before, this is our last session of the summer. So I really do hope that you all enjoyed connecting with us and each other and learning from industry leaders over these past few months. It's really been a pleasure hosting you all. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. And please, please, please do keep in touch with us. Add us on LinkedIn, Follow us on Instagram. You know, we want to be here for you guys as a resource as you continue your careers. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, SeeHer. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, all of you. We wish you great future success. Follow us on LinkedIn. Please reach out if there's anything at all that we can do. It has been such a pleasure for Jeannine and I.
Yes, and I have to say, the only regret is that we only got to see 2 of your faces. So if you reach out to us, but Jordan and everybody else, we thank you for your questions. And really, as I said to you before, I can already tell your motivation is going to take you a far way.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Bye, everyone.